So I thought I'd do a quick live, and what I mean by quick, I mean quick, because unfortunately I have a lot of things to do tomorrow morning early. But I saw that the video that I did on how twin flames walk into each other while you're married, that's almost like a typical thing that happens in the twin flame journey. It's one of the things that can happen, actually. Another thing that can happen is you can be actually in the dark night of the soul. And so one of the things that happened to me when I was 18 is I was going through massive dark night of the soul as a teenage girl. And that's when I met my twin. And where I got my instructions: be a vegetarian, chant, run. I was part of the track team, so I used to run, but he's showing me tips because he was a boxer runner and a runner. And there were a lot of things I already knew, though, about fasting, enemas, all these things I was raised with that consciousness. But when he appeared, it was when my marriage was ready to collapse, when I was ready. In other words, I'll never forget in 2007, I'm doing a meditation and I see him coming into my meditation out of nowhere, uninvited, unthought of. There was no obsession over him. Trust me. It didn't come until later, until we became lovers, obviously. And then, of course, this connection was really, really just got stronger and stronger and stronger as the years progressed, not weaker. That's the thing. That's what people don't understand about twin flames. The sex is going to get better and better and better and more transcendental and more tantric. And the bond is going to get stronger and stronger and not weaker. Weaker is when you're in a soulmate connection. Let's say you're lucky to be married to a soulmate, even a high-level soulmate. If they're doing too much fuckery in a high-level soulmate, yeah, you're going to be fed up at some point, especially if you're putting in a lot of years. You've put in at least a decade or two. You put in 20 years hoping for something to change, and it doesn't. So the video I did that looks like it's going viral on why twin flames come into your life when you're married is because most people stay married for all the fucking wrong reasons, including I'm doing it for my kid. The only time I would think this is appropriate is if both parents are fully present raising a child that has some kind of disability, then I'll agree with you. Aside from that, if you've got kids that are just neurotypical, there's no disabilities, there's none of that, right? None of that bullshit. And you're dealing with, you're kind of skating through life and your marriage is basically dead, except you won't admit to it, then you're not doing any favors to your kids, because you raise your kids thinking it's okay to be miserable and to stay miserable in a marriage. You're teaching them toxic loyalty is basically what you're teaching them. So when your twin comes in, because there's been this contract that you guys are going to incarnate at the same time, right? Because that doesn't always happen, by the way, on the side note. It doesn't. So you've agreed that you're going to incarnate in the 21st century, or in the 20th century to come into union in the 21st century. For example, for some of you, that's a true story. And you married. Along the way, you married someone else, and maybe you had kids with them and it didn't work out or whatever. Or you're just hanging on because you own a house, you own a business, you own this, you own that. And for some of you, that's a true story. For some of you, it's poverty that keeps you together, because you guys can't make it alone, separate. You have to pay the mortgage together or the rent together. In other words, if you can't do a single income, it's not going to work. You guys don't make enough money. So whether it's a lot of money that keeps you or not enough money that keeps you, they're all the wrong reasons. And so the twin comes in to kick down the illusions of self-limiting beliefs so that you can thrive. Because the whole point of these incarnations isn't to survive. This has been our lot in life for many incarnations, thousands of incarnations on this particular planet. And you need to thrive. And it's amazing how many of us, and me included, who have really wasted decades of our lives just working and studying and working and holding on and really grabbing for a little bit of nectar. So if on top of all the crap you're also dealing with a shitty marriage or a toxic marriage or a mundane marriage or a boring marriage or a marriage that just coasts on its own, and you're like, who's got the fucking wheel to this vehicle? Where are we going in this marriage? And do I even like this person anymore? And all of these questions that you might be asking yourself in a marriage. The twin walks in to just, that's it. First of all, the twin walks in to light you up in the root chakra, desire, lust, desire, excitement, passion. Suddenly you're feeling all these emotions, but it's not just root chakra activation, it's heart chakra activation, it's third eye activation, it's crown chakra activation. Why? Because you're starting to remember past lives, or you're remembering feelings that you haven't had and you thought would never come up in your life again, and here you are, being alive and really living, almost like you're being ignited alive again, and that's a sign that you've met your twin flame. That, don't confuse lust, which is temporary. It's temporary, okay? It is, because eventually it dies out, with a twin flame connection where it just gets better and better and better. And also, unfortunately, as it gets better, because there are some scars, impressions, or toxic traumas never really dealt with, or you thought you had dealt with it, that shit's going to get massively triggered. Jealousy, fear of abandonment, fear of betrayal, fear of being completely naked in their gaze, meaning in being completely honest about how you feel about them, what they mean to you, and realizing that this person could actually destroy you because they are the love of your life. What I've found over the years is that eventually you become more and more transcendental over time. And so you'll come into final union. Some of you will and some of you won't. Some of you who won't have to understand, and this is, I tell this to my clients fucking constantly, but it's the weirdest thing. Like, some clients listen and some clients don't. When your twin is entrenched in 3D and you're in 4D, 5D, you can't ever be in union. It's not a match. The frequency prohibits. It's just frequency. It's just not gonna, you're not gonna be able to come into a lasting union. So for your twin to match your steps so you guys can be in lasting union or progressive lasting union, you have to be both in the minimum of 4D. Maybe you're in 5D. They kind of come in 5D. You know, they're in the periphery of 5D. But you're definitely you're both in 4D. Okay? And that is what is going to bring your union to become progressively more and more permanent. What does that mean? It means you move in together. You're together for 3 years. The shit hits the fan. You go into separation. Because your egos have taken hold of the relationship instead of your heart chakras, and a separation occurs. It could be anything. Usually, it could be being triggered by something that hasn't been healed or hasn't been, looked at with compassion and fierce, radical honesty for yourself. That's one. The second one could be you have a soul contract with other people and you got to go and the universe is pulling you out, and it's a shock how it happens. And the third reason is that one of you digresses. You go from 4D to 3D. You digress, right? And so the frequency, so one of you is more entrenched in your egoic belief system of being right and just all kinds of stuff that's just going to clog up the flow of this connection with your twin. So, and grief. Grief will sink a twin into self-destructive patterns and behaviors and cynicism if the grief is based on somebody they loved that died. Well, if they love you and you're still alive, clearly that it's going to be a relative, right? It's going to be a mother, a father, and God forbid a child, right? That passes, and that throws them into spinning out of your realm because the grief is so it's choking them, so that that kind of grief can actually lower somebody's frequency. Makes sense, right? And and they become self-destructive. Like they don't want to be loved. They don't want to live. They don't want to, all of that is coming out of them. But whatever it is, if you're in a position of power and you've done massive work through this journey of being in union, and you guys have read all the books and all of that, it may not work, all this knowledge you have in that particular timeline, but I can assure you that as time progresses and they process what's occurred to separate both of you, they will at some point hit a wall and realize that they can't be without you, and they will turn around. They'll do a U-turn. I'll come back to you, and hopefully you have the discipline to not be triggered yourself and not ask too many questions and listen. Your job is going to have to neutralize your own egoic demands of apologies and explanations and all of that, and you're needing to be quiet and listen as much as you can, not to respond, but to process as to what went down and how they're feeling and how they felt. And much of the questions of why did you do that, the apologies you're looking for, what happened while they were gone, will be answered anyway if you listen. You see, you won't have to ask any of these questions. They will apologize. Because as they say to you, as they share with you what drove them out of your arms, out of your circle, out of this beautiful circle of being twin flames in union, they're going to tell you that they are sorry. It's going to come out of their mouths just organically. So you don't have to demand a damn thing. The problem with twin flames that are married and that hold on to their marriage is some of them hold on to their marriage out of pure fear. The fear is that they're going to lose custody of their kids. The fear is that one, especially if they're in a karmic marriage, karmic meaning, it could be a high-level soulmate or soulmate, but there's still massive karma that is involved in wrapping your twin in like a kind of like a prison, if you will, of their own minds, because this particular person they're married to could be addicted to shit. And if they leave, and let's say it's a woman they're married to, right? Let's say your twin is a man and he's married to a woman who's addicted to shit, or she's doing all kinds of weird stuff. And you know that if you leave the marriage, these kids will be taken, or, there'll be suspicion about how she's not taking care of them. And it's better for you to just sacrifice your love and stay with this woman until the kids are of age. Like you say that to yourself. It could also be that there's financial things involved, like a business, a house, or this or that. And twins will actually let material things. I could see kids. I could see being in fear of leaving your kids. I could see that. And I honor men and women who do that, who stay for the children. I get it. But when the twin is actually concerned over money, that's bullshit. I always use the story and the analogy with my clients, and I'm going to share it with you because it's a hell of a story. It's a very simple story. Catherine Zeta-Jones met Michael Douglas. Michael Douglas just wanted to probably have a mistress on the side. It was probably going to be a little nookie and a little fun, and that was it. But they fell in love. And they didn't just fall in love. They love each other. And to divorce his wife, he had to write a check for $50 million. So when a man tells a woman, yeah, well, we have a house and we have this and we have that, and I don't want to, I'd say bullshit. If when you love a woman and you're willing to write a check for $50 million, but you can't figure out how to write a check, buy your woman out, you buy your ex-wife out of X, Y, and Z, or come to an agreement of splitting the businesses half, or whatever, then you're letting material things dictate your life, and that's toxic to yourself. You're actually harming yourself. And men who do that, who decide that, and again, or women who decide that the decision, the financial decision, outweighs your joy of living, what they fail to understand is that when twin flames come into union, they manifest massive abundance of everything you can imagine. It just becomes easier and easier. This is a known thing, by the way. This is not my opinion. It's known, we all know in the spiritual community, we who are twin rays, twin flames, who've graduated from twin flame, we've seen it in action where we saw fucking manifesting magic out of nowhere, just nowhere, impossible feats of success. Okay, and so what I'm going to say to you is, if you're holding on to a marriage because of the financial aspect of it, you're actually doing yourself, your twin, the collective, a massive disservice, because you're choosing things over love. You're choosing things over ascension. You're choosing things over your ability to be in such a place of thriving and abundance that just your presence as a couple could actually have a massive impact, beautiful impact, like the 100 monkey theory of suddenly like divine wounded and broken twin masculine twin flames suddenly getting enlightened, awakened by just the pure vibration of you being successfully in union with your twin. You actually get to be in union with your twin, and your presence activates other twins from their slumber. In other words, we benefit from your success. Okay? When my twin and I graduated, when my twin and I came into union and graduated from twin flame to twin ray, and we're able to transcend certain things from death, right? Death being, for many, the final blow. That for many would set many people off in a massive dark night of the soul. But when you transcend this and you toggle between the human experience and that also benefits other twins on their journey. It is the vibrational of this truth that I'm experiencing with my twin in a transformed state that is helping other twins wake up. And my twin now no longer trapped by an egoic personality that filtered too many things too slowly, some of these things too slowly, or with too much patriarchy, or with too much alpha male energy, is now no longer part, you know what I mean? It's a free-flowing energy now. And when I drop my body, same thing will happen. And so that's why you have twin rays on the other side and twin flames on the other side of the veils, right? They're not in the physical body. Their lessons, their successes while they were on terra firma, meaning, while they were walking on planet Earth, they are remotely healing us to grow. And you guys who can come into union are actually also remotingly healing twin flames who are in separations or in trouble or what have you. You know what I'm saying? So the reason why a twin would be able to shake a marriage up is because the marriage is already dead. It's already either dead, or it's dying, or it never should have. I actually saw a woman who actually said she married someone because they helped her through the death of one of her mother or something like that, and she married him because she thought she owed him something. Yeah, that's not a good marriage, okay? And that's not to shame her. That's to say that she would sacrifice her life for a debt on maybe something that was simply a soul contract, where that person was supposed to come. I'm not saying don't be grateful, but not to that extent. Don't be that grateful when you start marrying people because you think you owe them. Don't ever do that. So you'll find also that when, I have clients who are in arranged marriages or have been in arranged marriages, and here comes the twin, because it's a farce. They're not supposed to continue that farce. They're supposed to break away from these marriages that are editing out their passions, and they're supposed to grow their soul back into full bloom so that they can actually be of service to themselves, to their twins, to their children if they have them, and most importantly, honestly, to the collective. And so that's why these connections always happen when we're married to other people. It happened to me, and it happens to a lot of people. And I don't judge people. I don't call it cheating in that realm. Cheating to me is this. I mean, cheating is cheating, okay? But cheating to me, and because I used to work for Psychic Source, and I would hear women saying, "Oh, I know he's married. He's cute though, and I just want to have sex. It's just gonna be for fun." That's bullshit. But when you have people struggling not to be lovers, who are twin flames, who are fighting the urges to be lovers, who are twin flames, married to other people, who are doing all they can not to do this, and yet they can't. And it's not lust, my friends. It's not, let's have some nookie and let's have some fun for a few weeks. That's not it. This is a pure soul connection. It's like the tide taking you out to the ocean. You can out into the middle of the ocean, into international waters, and you're like, wait, I was just swimming, I was just paddling over here, and now a wave took me out, and where the hell am I? It's one of those things. It's a force of nature that pulls you out of what you would have done in any other situations. Because clearly, when people are married to other people, and they've never cheated on their husband or wife, and the twin walks in, they are shook. They don't even know, like, what the hell. So that's why I put that video out, because I know that for many of you, that's how you met your twin. You were all married to someone, or somebody was married to one other person, and you're like, but why was I single? Why? Because you're probably got your head together more so, meaning you're more spiritually advanced, you're more spiritually together, you've been on your own for a while, you know the concept of loving your own company. I just saw a woman who, in her deep-ass 40s, who just learned the pleasure of taking herself out to a movie. I was doing this shit when I was 16. I would take myself out to see a movie alone with a sandwich and I'd sneak in in those days I used to eat seafood, a crab salad sandwich and watch my movies. I took myself out to movies all the fucking time. I've eaten on my own in a restaurant at 18, 19. You got to learn how to do that, or else you're not going to be good. If, God forbid, you end up alone, you better learn how to love your company. But for the most part, what happens when a twin is married to another person, and clearly the marriage is not good, it's not healthy, it's not honest. What I mean by honest is sometimes there's financial infidelity, meaning the person's not telling you, you're in a marriage where you're not financially safe, okay, with them. They make maybe they're gambling, maybe they're throwing the money at porn, maybe they're God knows what, right? Or they're lying about how much money they're making. Believe it or not, this happens more often than you think. And so this person that walks into your life, who is your twin flame, is going to activate you back to being alive, feeling like you did when you were 17, 18, and you were filled with excitement about what could be around the corner of life, which is the purpose of it. And then you're going to demand more from your marriage. And if you can't get it out of your marriage, you're going to leave your marriage. You're going to. It's a matter of not if are you going to leave it, but when are you going to leave it? And the sad part is that some people actually think they have all the time in the world. And no one can guarantee the expiration date of your twin except God. That means you need to have a little more urgency. That means you should ask yourself, is my husband or my wife that I'm married to, who's not my twin, are they an amazing partner for my kids? Are they really good? Or am I staying in this marriage because I'm afraid of leaving my kids with this partner who I think is, not stable? And if that's the case, then I would urge you, and hopefully you twins who are helping your twin to navigate these kinds of questions aren't going to be all about, it's about me, me, me. You're going to actually, and most true twin flames will love those kids like their own. I've never met a twin flame that did not say, I wish the best for my twin flames kids. I want to be friends. I want to influence them. I want to love them like they're my own. I've never met a twin flame that did not feel that way. And when women, especially women or men, come to me not acting like that, I'm pretty damn sure they're not twin flames. Because the concept of the twin flame is this massive, unbelievable, like universal scope of unconditional love in them. They can love, 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 and it shocks you. It actually shocks you how much unconditional love that you have for your twin, and how much shit they can get away with you, but no one else would get away with it never in a million years, but your twin somehow. So that includes their children. You love their children. You want the best for their children and so forth. So make sure that if you decide to create a plan of exit for your twin, that you come from a place of neutrality, empathy, kindness, true friendship, loyalty, and integrity. Okay, don't do it to rush them to live with you and all of that, because that's your agenda. Make sure that you're aware that you're being also tested. And the best advice is advice that benefits all concerned. You, no offense, you being the last person on that. And here's why. Because if you do it for the best of everyone concerned, there will be the least amount of harm in a separation. And the plan has to be intelligent. You know, you got to come up with you got to talk about the finances and how it's going to look and so forth. But some of the comments that I can't even describe that were on my video that I did today, that really I was shocked at how many people have looked at it and so forth, on why you will be in a marriage when your twin flame 9 times out of 10 walks in, is some of these ideas that twin flames are loose and twin flames are going to just they're just there for the sex. That's not it, because some of these twin flames meet and they do have an emotional affair, but they never touch for a long time until, you know, the kiss, and then of course they become lovers, and that's it. You know, these activations happen, and they want to be inseparable, and they should be inseparable. Twin flames just, it's nectar beyond nectar. And people who judge these kinds of situations and divorces and so forth, you know, they don't understand what this is. They don't. I keep going back to Richard Burton and Liz Taylor, and how they married twice, and he would write her letters every fucking day, even though he was married to someone else. And he lived in Switzerland, and he would write her letters every fucking day, even though he was married to someone else. And he lived in Switzerland, and she received it. She just received it. You know what I mean? And she was in shock, because he was basically saying, I miss you, I miss you. I mean, basically he was saying, I love you. You're the love of my life. I'm paraphrasing. Look up the letter. I've reposted it a while back, but look up the last letter Richard Burton wrote to Liz Taylor. It's heartbreaking. It's one of the best letters ever written, because it's definitely the masculine twin flame speaking to his feminine twin flame. Definitely. It's incredible. So, any questions or comments? Any questions or comments about why this happens? Hi, Amanda. All right. So, any other questions or comments? Okay. Thank you for sharing the live, by the way. So I'm going to upload this on the my YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel. What do you do if you're in no contact? The question I would say to you is, why are you in no contact? First of all, but hopefully it's not. The term no contact means, in my book, that you guys aren't talking, not that you've blocked each other in social media and phones. You know. Oh, thank you, Amanda. I'm okay. Amada, not Amanda, Amada. So it's a little there's a lot of nuances to this, okay? Because your story is not my story, and I'm I was in union with my twin until he passed, and very recently, and so when I don't think it wasn't often that we did the no contact. He was doing the no contact for a long time, for a year. And I was doing a lot of energy work on myself and processing a lot of things. And, when that happened, that was a massive dark night of the soul. I had one dark night of the soul that lasted 8 days. And then another one that lasted almost 2.5 years. I'm not kidding. It was bad. But I was able to learn, how to let the pain drive itself through my heart so that it could be cauterized, if you will. But Ho'oponopono is something I did. I've done it with everyone. And you want to do it to yourself as well. I did all kinds of energy work, which I discuss on other videos and this and that. And, I coach, I am a coach, a twin flame coach. And I have been doing this for a long time. I've done it for a major company and finally decided to go off on my own because I really didn't like the trajectory of the company. Let me see. Because I'm engaged and it was getting to be too much. See, I don't know your story. Thank you for that video. I need to share this with my twin flame. Absolutely. Thank you for this. I've started to let him go. I've done inner child healing. Is no contact for not good? Well, let me put it that way. It depends on how the no contact began and how it is playing out. But no, I mean, I was in no contact. But when I say no contact, let me reframe it because there's different. No contact is, here's the energy. You're full of shit. I don't want to fucking talk to you anymore. You're not getting me. You're not seeing me. You're not honoring me. You're not being faithful to me. You're not keeping your promises, so I'm not going to talk to you for a while. That's no contact. Separation. You meet and you separate, and the universe already had that soul contract display, which is what happened to me and my twin. We met, and we hung out for 2 weeks on all kinds of esoteric spiritual shit. I mean, intense stuff, right? And then I went to Switzerland. He tracked me down there by phone, spoke, wrote some letters, and boom, silence for 27 years. And it wasn't any skin off my nose, nor was it really any skin off his nose, right? I think he was chasing me a little more. I was more of a runner, to be honest. But I wasn't hurt or anything. I was my heart chakra was very, very shut down for many reasons, which I won't go over. The first connection, union, was in 2008. And we were in union for like 3 months, 4 months actually. And then he went too far and I had other issues going on. And then I did no contact, meaning that's when it was no contact, meaning he wrote me love letters, Federal Express them. I didn't respond for 6 years. I know what a runner does and I know why they do it. And runners run for multiple reasons. Self-loathing, issues with other outside environments that are beyond their control and they cannot extricate themselves from those duties, my friends. And usually it's with a child or a parent. And so those duties took me 6 years out of his realm. And then he got his ass kicked by the universe, and so did I. And finally, by 2014, we were in union, physical union, okay? And so no contact and separation have different vibrational energies. Separation, we're going to separate. I got to do this. You got to do that. Hey, we'll see you on the flip side of the moon. I'll see you whenever I see you. Love you, baby. Bye. There's no hurt or pain. The no contact has a lot of anger behind it, resentment, fear, sadness, grief, unrequited love type of energy. And that's a whole different energy. And so ghosting someone and not, you know what I mean, like blocking someone, I'm totally against it. One of my regrets is that I should have just sent him a letter. I'd spoken to his father saying, look, he's not ready for, I've got the shit I'm dealing with my son. Like, I can't do this. I can't do romance right now. Sorry, I just can't, right? And so I told his father, but to be fair, I should have told him. I should have written him a long 10-page letter saying, this is the situation. You can't be a part of my life right now because I'm dealing with massive shit and I need to focus on this. This is what I need to focus on. And I can't focus on, romantic fairy tales right now. I can't, because my life's not a fairy tale. And that's what I do regret not doing. But I think the most important thing you can do is, in your separation, try to make sure that every time you have an issue with your twin, it's a separation, not a no contact ghosting situation. from what I've learned from my own, journey, and what I've seen with clients who have really, really suffered more than they should have, is just lay it out on the table. Write them a letter. Tell them what it's about. Tell them what you need. Tell them what a life with them would look like, with you, and lay it out. I think that most of you could probably reach into your heart chakra and have a lot more courage than previous twins that have been in relationships, more courage to be transparent and naked and being unafraid of your nakedness in the way you love them. But make sure that it is a letter that is going to express not just the sexual love, but the spiritual connection that you have with them. And you can't do that unless you've done meditations, excavations, hypnotherapy, things of that nature, to kind of like tap into what this is, so you can actually articulate it back to them, so they can realize, my God, you've just said in words what I've been feeling for you all along, but you actually put into words. If two people can't express what twin flame connection is to each other, then it creates fear and a sense of imbalance and a sense of, I'm not safe here, because I don't even understand what the hell this is. Meanwhile, you have to understand, and this is a real concern for the twin flame, twin ray community, is that we've got the powers that be, who are, no? Okay. The powers that be that, hang on for a quick second, that want us to fail. They want us to fail. That's all there is. Oh, okay. Well, apparently we just had a bat come into our house. Sorry about that. That's crazy. That is crazy. Wow. All right, so I'll have a bit of an emergency in a minute. I'll come down.
How's her shots?
Huh?
How's her rabies? Is it up to date?
Yeah.
Okay, it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, anyway, if you have a twin flame, but what is a karmic has a hold on him? It's not. Yeah. Again, thank you for the video. I still feel his energy and that we are connected. Well, of course you do. Is no contact. Okay, is he still in disbelief? Okay, I'm sorry. Let me finish. If you have a twin flame, but what is a karmic? Okay, so please, the word karmic is done by non-spiritualists. We're all karmics. I'm a karmic. You're a karmic. We all have karma, or else we wouldn't be in 3D. We'd be in 6D. We'd be in heavenly planets. We'd be elsewhere, not here. Not here in this particular system of infrastructure that's, So let's just get that clear. So what he has is a soul contract with possibly a non-soulmate or a soulmate. And they're high-level soulmates, which are top 10, top 5. And out of 555 soulmates, you've got, your soulmate could be 500, right? So it's a soulmate that's been your brother, your sister, your father, your cousin, your best friend, you're a lover for the night, whatever, right? Nothing really to write home about. Or it's a non-soulmate. And these situations can create a soul contract of lessons. And I went through that myself, and they feel significant, but they're not. They're illusions. And some of them, they've been lovers for a long time, and they have not ever worked out certain things, okay? Certain aspects of these relationships. One of them being they should have never hooked up in this incarnation in the first place. You might call that karma. It is karma, because there are people you will meet in your incarnation that you're massively sexually attracted to. And you'll call it falling in love, being in love, instead of realizing it's lust. It's from past lives. It's unrequited love. And finally you have the opportunity to have this person, or whatever the hell it is for you, right? And here you are in a situation, and it's a crossroad moment. And this is where you really need to have heart coherence to make sure, wait, is this really good for me? What was this person in my past lives? What played out? So I repeat this in a lot of my lives, but I'll repeat it to you guys. So I met this guy gorgeous, 6'4", absolutely fucking stunning, Scottish, Danish, hello. And 9 years younger than me, and whatever, I think it was, yeah, whatever, or 7 years, I forgot. And when we stared at each other, the world fell away. It stood still. Now, people would have thought, oh, it's your twin flame. No, it wasn't. And I knew it wasn't. I knew it was not. I knew he wasn't even a high-level soulmate. Why? Because I was getting weird red flags in between the excitement and the passion and all of that. And we were never lovers, thank God, because I went to a hypnotherapist. This is why I became a hypnotherapist myself. And I saw 4 past lives, and they were all fucked. They were absolutely, and that's when I realized, I came out of the hypnotherapy session going, holy shit, I can't do anything with, I gotta let him go. I gotta break this karmic wheel that we've been playing out for at least 2,000 years. So I broke the karmic wheel, meaning I sent him on his way. Hug, pat on the back. It was great knowing you. Have a good life. That was it. And there was a sense of massive relief. Like my whole body felt like it had just come out of the perfect shower after, sweating in the heat, that kind of thing. I felt completely drained of anxiety. It was amazing. And I ended up moving towards my twin. And I had a second vision of my twin out of nowhere, uninvited, didn't think of it, just out of nowhere, just came. And so apparently I needed to finish this karmic thing with this person so that the doors would open. And I remember my twin saying, because I remember telling him, I just remembered this. I was telling him about this guy in the car. I was sitting in the car, and he's out of state. And he was saying, well, why don't you continue with this guy? I go, because I'm done. I've broken the chain. I don't want anything to do with this person. Now, take note, I never was his lover. Because being his lover would have looped me into a new karmic bond with this other man. Long story short, right after that, now you guys will say, oh, it's a twin flame catalyst. No, there's no catalysm in there. It was something that I needed to clear. And if I had not cleared it, and if he had become my lover, right, I would not have been free to be with my twin. Does that make sense? So the universe said, you've got some unfinished business. You've got this person who incarnated from a past life you haven't worked out. You've got this person. And every time I was being, brought in front of someone I needed to dissect, right? And I don't know how I knew this. I just, let me figure this one out. Let me go within. I would always go within, not without, meaning not with my sexual urges or my desires or the opportunities. I mean, I went through a phase where I was in the best shape of my life, and I was getting a lot of action. So I had to push it away. But I wasn't just pushing it away to push it away. I was pushing it away because I went, here's another quicksand karmic shit I can avoid. And so I was doing a lot of work. And when I was done with all of these contracts, when I put it to bed for good, that's when my twin came in. And he had a lot of trauma. He had a lot of trauma, a lot. And a lot of distrust and a lot of hurt. And I had been able to navigate a lot of things on my own so that I had massive patience. I'd been doing massive meditations, chanting, visualizing for years. So by the time he came into my life wounded, I had massive patience until one day I didn't, to be honest. But it took about a year before I lost my grip. Because after a while, when somebody is hurt and they keep, hurt people, right? And that's when I started claiming my boundaries. And that's when we started having issues of power. And because I'm an alpha female and he's an alpha male, you can imagine. So it was not fun, but the nectar was sublime. So, and when we would have mini separations based on a fight. And I'd say, well, I feel like I need to just stay at a friend's or stay at this or stay at a motel or whatever. Just, we need a break from each other. We'd come back and we'd resolve it. But it was never fully resolved to the full level. until we started getting real in the last 2 years, in the last 2 years. So the journey of being flames and the toxicity of being flames is a real issue that has been denied by the press, with Amazon Prime, with Twin Flame Universe and Twin Ray, the audacity of these people calling themselves Twin Ray, in Ashland, Oregon. There's been all kinds of I'm getting like massive comments on this particular video I just did, on saying it's all New Age bullshit. No, well, here's this. I'll call it out. New Age, the term is bullshit. It's ancient wisdom that is older than us as souls. It's new. It's wisdom that created everything we see, and massive trillions of things we can't see because of our the fact that we're in a 3D body looking through 3D lenses. And by the way, this is science. There are many colors we can't see because the vibration, the frequency is higher than what our eyes can see. This is scientifically talked about. So there are many things we can't see, including the parting the veils, being able to clearly see other realms, other dimensions, our loved ones who have dropped their bodies and crossed over, who are still massively alive. They're just not in the bodies we remember them in, that's all. So when you say karmic marriage, it's a soul contract marriage. It's unfinished business. And it could be that the person, instead of sadly, unless your twin was really introspective and went with the okie doke and went with the sex and went with the desire and went with all of that shit, right? Instead of asking themselves deep spiritual questions. What is this karma? Who is this person in my life? Why are they here? What am I supposed to learn? Why am I getting red flags and we just met? We've only been together a year. And people marry people like that all the time. There are red flags all over the fucking place, but they still marry these people. And then they decide to have kids. A lot of that is they're not introspective, number one. They're not having a real spiritual excavation, number two. Number three, there's no self-worth. There isn't. And so now suddenly they're trapped in a marriage based out of duty, and they're acting like it's the 1880s, for Christ's sakes. And I know some of you are frustrated because it's like, well, I don't understand. It's not the 1880s. You can divorce whenever the hell you want. And yet they stay playing out past life loops because that's why they're acting like it's in the 1920s or 1880s, because they're playing out a past life loop with a marriage, and they're not learning that this today is a new day, a new era, and it's about, let me sit with my kids, let me tell them what's going on, let me come up with a plan with my twin, let's get this plan going, let's try to make friends with my soon-to-be ex, let's be friends, let's co-create some kind of loving friendship of support, of love. It's possible. We've seen people do it, like Demi Moore and Bruce Willis, like people you don't even know. My husband, ex-husband, and I say ex only for clarity, we weren't divorced. My husband was I loved him. I love him still, like a sibling. But I would only want the best for my husband. Like, I would never want him to suffer financially or any way. And if it's a twin flame, you'll feel that way about their ex. You won't want harm on them. You'll want them to thrive because it's to your benefit that their ex thrives, or else they'll be running there trying to fix shit. So it's to your benefit to want the best for the ex. Oh, but she's a bitch, and you should still want the best for the ex. Because she's going to go through her dark night of the soul, or he, whoever is being left behind, and they are going to need support. And the support of books, tapes, links, this, that, and the other. And hopefully the right support will come to them organically as well. But it's a growing moment for them too. And I'm going to be straight up with you. Some of these marriages are with high-level soulmates, and sadly the marriage is broken. It's going through a collapse. It's been 10, 20, 30 years of marriage, and now it's time. Okay, it's time for the marriage to end. And the high-level soulmate may be so in love with your twin. By the way, if it's their high-level soulmate, it's also yours. That means your family. That means that high-level soulmate that loves your twin that you want in your life, yeah, that's your high-level soulmate. See, that's what I'm saying about you got to become transcendental. You got to like be very honest about yourself, about your jealousies and your stuff. Because, and don't get me wrong, I had massive jealousy is an issue. But there were certain soulmates that my twin had. I was never jealous. Like if he had chosen one of these high-level soulmates instead of me, I would have actually been happy for him. Going, he's in good hands. That was my soul talking wisdom about another soulmate. But other women that I knew there was no connection, it was just either sex or whatever, yeah, I was like, yeah, oh hell no. Because it'd be a fuckery. With my high-level soulmate, what was interesting is my high-level soulmate was never jealous of my twin. Because again, it proves that we were all family, soul family. And it is what it is. The thing about these situations is that no one is going to come out unharmed. And the beautiful thing about your twin, flame, who wants to stay married because she doesn't want to harm the family, right? They haven't come to the understanding that the marriage collapsing and becoming brittle and sour and all of that is going to harm everyone anyway, no matter what. You can't sit in toxic soup and not everyone in being affected by it. The kids, the wife, the husband, whoever. But they are looking to avoid hurting a lot of people. So in hurting you, they hurt one person. In hurting their wife or husband and maybe a child or two, you see they're triaging pain. They're saying, you're less likely to be destroyed by this, but I know that my partner and my kids could be destroyed, and there's 2 or 3 people involved here, okay? And there's just you, and I choose to protect them because I know you can handle yourself because you're strong. See, the thing about the twin flame who's married to someone else, they'll think that you're strong enough to be on your own. And they don't understand how hard it is for a twin flame, twin ray, not to have the nectar, daily nectar of their twin flame. They don't understand how once you've tasted the nectar, how not having it for a week, 10 days, a month is absolutely torture. It's absolutely torture for you, right? If you're in separation. And so the pain is going to happen anyway. And what the children will learn is true love. And they'll see true love in action. And they'll see respect, how you respect their mother or father, right? Even though you're with their mother or father. And you know what I'm saying? In other words, the person that's been left behind, their parent who is going to deal with the divorce. And because I trust twin flames and twin rays so fully, I know that it would be done with respect, with integrity, with compassion. There would be none of the, shoving a pie in that person's face, trying to shame them. If any of this energy is there, hating the kids of the twin, competing with all of that bullshit, yeah, it's not a twin. I know for a fact it's not a twin flame. This is now we're talking about karmic, high-level soulmates, maybe, but definitely massive toxic karmic shit's happening, and it's not real. It's not going to happen. Okay, I know for a fact. I've talked to thousands of clients, some who are in twin flames, some in high-level soulmates, and this ability to love unconditionally and to be kind and to feel only good feelings for the children that may not have come from your body, but are from your twin's body, and you will love them and protect them and also respect the mother who bore them or the father who bore. Yeah, that's a twin flame mark. Anything less than that, if you don't have that in you, reconsider what you think you've got, what kind of relationship you have with your person. I'm not kidding. My twin and I are attempting to move jobs and homes. A lot of faith right now. Yep. Hi, how are you? Feeling so lost. I know. Thank you so much for this reminder. My heart has been so heavy, but understand by their choices. Understanding of. Yes, gotcha. Yeah, because there's a lot. There's a lot involved. I can tell you that when I was a runner, when I ran for, and I can't regret it because it was my son or my twin. And you might say, well, what could you? Because my son needed things that no one else but me and a focused environment could give him. And to pull a kid out of an environment that was needed to be as stable as possible, even though it was completely unstable because the marriage was shit. And God bless my husband. Just again, he did his best. Okay, but there's no way. There's no way. Okay, you have to. You always, and I've always done that, you always triage who needs you most. And the sad part is after that, once he grew up, we went back into union, we separated. And then, of course, we separated because another tragedy happened. My husband died. And then my mom was sick. And that lengthened our separation. Because now my triage was my mother was sick and I needed to take care of her. And I was flying in, damn near every 3 weeks and doing my thing. Now, he was my twin was an incredibly generous man, and he wanted my mom to live with us, actually. And my mom was stubborn. She did not want to live with anyone, to be honest. And then when my twin was diagnosed, it's been one thing after the other. So, but you got to also realize, and this is really hard to digest, this reality of 3D is it's a school, right? A lot of people call it a prison planet, which, again, feed the masses fear and they will, eat it up like cake. The thing about fear is that fear will keep you from ascending, okay? And so there's these weird spiritualists that call themselves spiritualists that will say very harmful things to your psyche that you'll unfortunately absorb and think is real. This is a school planet. It's 50% heart, 50% mind. It's 50% heaven, 50% hell. And if you've ever traveled this planet, it is definitely heavenly and it's very hellish. I mean, we're seeing some of the shit happening right now. So it's not like we don't know what hell looks like. It's right here on this planet. Some parts of the world, for a lot of kids, it's fucking hell. So you've got this reality. But with everything, with the infrastructure we live under, as we learn how to breach through these 3D brains, right? And we become transcendental through the 3D brains, right? It is really a lot of school and some nectar. It's almost like we've got 1 week's vacation out of every year, right, of our lives. So on a spiritual sense, it's exactly what we're getting. So we're getting very little nectar in comparison to all of the challenges that we're dealing with, working a job, balancing this, dealing with someone who's terminally ill. All kinds of things are happening, right? Just when you think you're going to take your breath, you're getting slammed with something else, or someone else's issue that you want to, because you've got a good heart, you want to help. Okay, so with that said, what you start realizing as you become more and more transcendental is that this is school. And what that means is, because it's school, you have to get to a place where you realize that the time when you are going to drop your body, when you finally, your expiration date comes up and it's time for you to move out of this body into other realms of reality, is that you're going to incarnate into a new reality, which is much kinder. And many of us are going to and I don't know how you better make sure you have self-worth, because if you don't feel worthy, this is not going to happen for you. But if you're kind to yourself and you love your inner child and you've taken care of your inner little boy, a little girl, and your twins remotely and so forth, then you know that you need a break. You've done multiple incarnations for thousands of years, thousands of incarnations on this planet. It's been exhausting. There's been a lot of trauma, a lot of abrupt endings, things of that nature, separation with your twin, unrequited love with other karmic soulmates and so forth. All of that's been going on. And so here we are at the threshold of a new reality and realizing, wow, you can actually take a break. You can take a break for 400, 500, 600 years in human terms and be with your twin in these, what they call heavenly planets, meaning planets where there's no, the infrastructure that we have here is not present. And the irony is that planet Earth, before Atlantis fell, was like that. There was no famine, there was no war, there was no infrastructure, governments. Just, if you wanted to grab a piece of land and it was there, it was yours. If you wanted to build a cabin on the beach, go to it, my friend. So that was the freedom that we as the human species, before Atlantis fell, during Lemuria and so forth, we lived those realities, okay? And we live those realities on other planets. So when you go through the school that is this planet with your twin, and you've been able to some massive, massive work and healing and understanding through the filtering system of a 3D egoic brain that's hell-bent on being in fear or in anger or in control, or, you know what I'm saying? When you're able to do that through that process, you're ascending fast into 5D. Once you ascend to 5D, you are no longer a frequency match to this planet as it is. That's why this planet has to be 5D to return, and you will be going on to other planets, other realms of existence, and they are there. I have too many clients, myself included, who remember past lives on other planets. Organically remember, just out of nowhere. Just, there it is, a download. And the download continues in hypnotherapy. I've seen clients remember, and I've talked about in many of my lives, past lives on other planets, as humanoid species and other types of species, honestly. And so when we look at this beautiful planet, right, that is going through its transformation, as you're going through yours, when you're in the separation of your twin, you're letting your ego tell you to be absolutely destroyed by the separation instead of seeing the wisdom of it. And when a twin is hell-bent on losing and is self-harming by rejecting you or accusing you or whatever they're doing that feels like, this is so random, where the fuck is this coming from, this self-destructive behavior? Like, why, we were doing so well, why would this person shut the door on this? It was so beautiful, what's going on? Well, it's because the person, your twin, is suffering from self-loathing. And so when a person is dealing with self-loathing, you've heard of people self-harm, right? Self-cut, this and that, right? Because the pain of their own self-loathing is so intense that they have to somehow manage the pain by adding another type of pain unto themselves, right? So there are grown-ass men and women who are in that cycle, in that machine that keeps turning on them. And it's frightening. And what you can do is energy work, remote healing, energy work, and so forth. And that's all I can tell you. I think I'm kind of done now. I want to thank you all for being here. And let me read some of your comments before I go, because it's really good. I just stopped focusing on dating or men and have been really happy doing me. Good. In other words, what prompted the fall of Atlantis? Oh, God, that's a long... I have a video on that. I have a couple of videos I've done. In fact, you can look up my YouTube channel. There's a couple lives I've done on why Atlantis fell. Lots of bullshit. Lots of reasons. Like, in fact, some of the shit we're seeing right now, like genetic manipulation, but much worse than that. It was genetic manipulation. It was famine. It was the way they treated the Lemurians and what they did in attacking them, there was no reason to do that. There was plenty for everyone. We went from 6D, 76D, and then went right, and we spiraled into control, power, Anunnaki energy. There were different forces, there were different factions who believed in a system that was good and pure and honest and abundant for all. And then there was a system that was growing, that was becoming, which was a system of ownership, greed, avarice, lust, and things of that nature, you know? So the vibration went, collapsed it. Because the frequency, because they were also fucking with crystals in the wrong way, because crystals was powering a lot of their stuff, and they started fucking with the crystals. Crystals have consciousness, massive consciousness, if you're aware of it. And you can manipulate the crystals. And when I say manipulate, I mean work with it to upgrade the purity of the crystals, right? Once you get them in your hands and so forth. And it's one of the reasons why I don't like mass-produced crystals. I don't like how some crystals are machine carved, and all crystals from, like right now I have some crystals from Mozambique that I'm selling, but all my crystals are from Brazil, Peru, Colombia, Madagascar. If they don't know where it's coming from, I don't buy it. It's that simple. So because crystals are that, they have personalities, they have whole worlds in those crystals. I mean, whole sentient beings are in those crystals. And that sounds very woohoo to some people, but I really don't care. So crystal and the abuse of crystals, frequency, sound, and the wrong frequency would have created a massive tsunami, which would have taken Atlantis out. It's that simple. Thank you, Letty. So, thank you so much. Wonderful live. Oh, thank you, Chrissy. Mine is self-loathing. Linda, you're going to have to work on that. You got to do the Ho'oponopono. I have a guided meditation on my profile page. Go ahead and check it out on my profile page. On my go ahead and look for guided meditations and do the Ho'oponopono and do that every night. I have people who downloaded that particular guided meditations all over the world. And they do it every night to go to sleep. And it will work on your 9 chakras. And it will actually help you, and you need to start doing that. You need to start doing it tonight, and you need to start doing it at morning and night. You wake up with that meditation, you go to sleep with that meditation. I don't think it's more than 9 minutes. 9 minutes at the max, okay? All right, let me see what else. Yeah. Oh my God, did you really? Oh, I gotta read this. Jessica says, I found your YouTube channel last night and I'm a major fan now. That's so sweet. I'm so happy. I hope you find a lot of good stuff that you can use. I've worked on myself for 20 years. I feel I'm so ahead of him in my healing. Well, it may look like that in multiple ways, but what you feed your twin feeds you. Oh, so sorry about your love. Yeah, he it's bizarre. Believe me, it's not easy. It isn't easy because he's the love of my life, but what's made it easier is that I'm able to communicate with him. 1, 2, I feel his presence constantly. 3, I've been given before he passed many times in my meditation, and I told him what I'd been shown, that our next future incarnation together. So I already, and I've gotten confirmations from 2 of my very brilliant psychic friends who are my Doc Holidays, which means they don't tell me what I want to hear. They tell me the truth. So if it was wrong, they would have said, no, that's not going to happen. They would have told me. So I'm happy about that. So, but I'm here to finish out some work on the Twin Flame journey for the Twin Flame Collective. That's clear to me now. And so I'm going to do my duty, and do what I got to do to make sure that Twin Flames understand what this is and they don't get gaslit by a system like Vanity Fair, wrote an article about the Twin Flame universe who definitely, there's no question it's a cult. No question. And and how people are like sneering, it's new age, twin flames are new age. Really, dude? Because Plato was talking about it. How is it new age? Because new age, you see, is only 200 years old. The term new age, Blavatsky coined that term with what's his name, I keep forgetting, is Aleister Crowley, who was a complete pedophile. Okay, he was a complete pig. So new age, I don't like that term either. I like ancient wisdoms. Wisdoms that go back past the Vedas. And the Vedas are 7,000 to 10,000 years old, depending on who you talk to. So that's the oldest, wisdoms on the planet in written form. And wisdoms of twin flames, they were, I remember past lives with my twin on other planets, for real. So but the Plato thing is what gets me. It's like, what are you talking about? It's new age. Plato was talking about it like thousands of years ago, you fool. It's like, so their arguments are to throw a rock in the machine of the ascension. And the ascension is a slam dunk if we do not have self-loathing. You see, the self-loathing will keep you from ascending. And I don't know how you feel. I'm half French. I was born in Paris, so I didn't watch the whole debacle on the Olympic openings. Just so you know, thank you, my love. And I didn't see that, but I saw enough to go, what the fuck? So I'm almost choking on this. So, of course, their excuse is that it's a Dionysus, which is Bacchus, Dionysus, meal, right? They're saying it's the meal, not the Last Supper. That was their argument. That was the argument. But you see, they're full of shit, because then they showed us the pale horse, and they said it was Joan of Arc, and I call bullshit. I lived in Paris, you see, and there's a Joan of Arc statue right there. I think it's Place de la Concorde. And it's a golden Joan of Arc on a black horse, I believe. Yes, I believe I'm correct. Anyway, and it's just, there's no meaning to the black horse. It just happens to be a black horse. And she's all in pure gold. It's absolutely beautiful statue. I love that statue when I used to see it. But my point is, the picture, the woman on the horse with she looked like something out of, death, like the Grim Reaper. Yeah, that wasn't Joan of Arc. That was definitely the pale horse. And so I don't like people there's an old saying, pee in my ear and tell me it's raining. So you don't pee in my ear and tell me it's raining. So this one is like, don't lie to me. You're definitely giving out weird messages. And what's sad is that don't get twisted on this Paris thing, thinking all French people are into that, because I was watching videos of French people watching it going, what the fuck is this? So don't think, and it's not a Christian thing. I think people are getting way too fucking crazy about the Christian. Anybody with a half a brain would have looked at that going, what is this? And why would they do this? Right? So the Christians are, like usual, going a little nuts on that. And rightly so. They said if it had been done with a Muslim, absolutely all wrong. Got it. It's funny how they never get to do anything with Buddhism, because I guess there's not much you can do with the Buddhist religion, because there's something really transcendental about it. But I just thought of that. That's so interesting. Yeah, anyway, and there's not much they can do with the Hindu religion, really. I can't imagine what they could do to offend anyone. No one would give a shit. So I don't know. All I can say is this. We are going through ascension. Self-love is the key. And I'm not just saying that like it's a t-shirt. It is absolutely a problem. So what I will say to you, Linda, if you're still there, I'll tell you what to do, is you need to pull out a picture of you when you were a little baby, because it's easy to love a baby, and put that on your altar. And then you're going to find a picture of you as a little girl you don't like. You actually don't like the picture at all, because that's that little girl who needs the most love from you, and so forth. Does that make sense? But sweetie pie, it's not your Lord, okay? It's the Lord. It's God. And it's not Lord, it's God. It's a power. So it doesn't belong to any of us. We are all caretakers. We are all children of this power. Okay, and this religion, any religion that they fuck with, is in a way them showing their alignment with something very dark. And so in a way, that's what they were showing. They're saying, we are not aligned with this, we're aligned with darkness. And so you don't have to be Christian to see that. I think most of us can agree that we all sat there going, what? So it's just a joke. I'm sure was John the Baptist. No, that was actually that was Marie Antoinette. But listen, that's what they said. It was Marie Antoinette. But why would they actually personify Marie Antoinette after her guillotine? In other words, she's holding her own head. Like, why would they think that was a very chic, classy thing to do, is to have multiple Marie Antoinettes holding her head? So the John the Baptist analogy, okay, whatever, but no matter what, why do it? Because they had these red ribbons everywhere, and it looked very macabre, is the word, I think. The whole thing was dark. So Paris is kind of like put themselves on many people's shit list. The sad part is, I hope you guys don't think all the French people went, oh yeah, we love this. No, a lot of French people went, what the fuck is this? I'm embarrassed. I'm not joking. A lot of French people were pissed off, going, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is going on with our fucking money, right? So don't think they were into it, because they weren't. Let me see. They are gaslighting. Absolutely. I was just hearing that earlier and was like, what? Yeah, exactly. Definitely controversial on his statement. He belongs to everyone, but my relationship with him feels personal. It's personal to everyone. It's supposed to be. It's a multidimensional, powerful being. You've got also Angel Michael, a multidimensional light being. So when you got the archangels and you've got God, of course it feels personal. It's good that it's personal for you. That's beautiful. But I caution people when they say my God, because then there's a sense of separation, that an ownership of no one else can have it. But no, absolutely, it's absolutely a relationship that all of us should have personally, and should feel like we're worthy to have these dialogues directly from us, our heart chakra, to source, to God, and no one else should infringe on that. It shouldn't be. Because again, if you believe in reincarnation, if you've read the Gnostic Gospel, the Nag Hammadi, if you've read the Gospel of Thomas, if you've read any of those books, if you really, really want to have a connection with Yeshua, right, and Mary Magdalena and Mother Mary and all of these beautiful, powerful souls that walk this planet, then you're going to realize that part of you feeling worthy of anything, having downloads from them, being guided from them. When you think of Joan of Arc, I mean, I brought it up in my last live today, I think it was today, and I can't get over it. But you gotta realize, here was this little teenage girl that's getting downloads, and she's leading war-bitten warriors, like these old men, older warriors, soldiers, generals, who actually followed her, believed in her. In a time when misogyny was the rigueur, this was a time when the Catholic Church thought that women's souls were B-grade souls, kind of like very close to cattle. Our souls were like cattle. So anyway, going back to the French, don't think the French are loving this. I know I'm half French, born and raised in France, in Paris, in the south of France, and I can tell you that my favorite place in the world is usually the southern part, Aix-en-Provence, that area. And they're not digging that shit at all. I'm sure there's some that are going to go with it because they all want to feel like they're not stupid. So, oh my God, yes, it's art. But that wasn't art. That was dark shit. And it was bloody and it didn't look good. I felt like a very cheap comic strip. I came across a very cheap, dark comic strip. Very badly done. They interviewed the guy who actually set this up, French guy, obviously. And he honestly looked clueless, like he didn't realize how he fucked up, and it makes me laugh because I don't know who influenced him. I can't believe he did that all out of his own head. I just don't buy it. I know he was probably heavily influenced, and stepped in dog do like massive, and is now realizing that he fucked up, but he still doesn't know how he fucked up. That's what's so scary. See, when you make mistakes like that and you don't understand what you did, that's really scary. It was satanic, absolutely. You're right, it's our father, not my father. Exactly. The upside wings confirm the horse. The horse had nothing to do with Joan of Arc. This is when I said, no, you're not gaslighting me. I know Joan of Arc. See, I was raised around this, so no one's going to tell me that was Joan of Arc. Because all they needed to do for Joan of Arc was have a check. In fact, they showed a picture of Joan of Arc's brother's descendants of a young girl. You can look her up. Joan of Arc's descendant. Look it up. You'll see her. And the kid looks like it could have been Joan of Arc. It's insane how my vision of Joan of Arc, and I saw the kid and I go, holy shit, that looks like an incarnation of Joan of Arc. But anyway, yeah, it's Joan of Arc's brother, who was a survivor, obviously, and it goes back. So it goes back from the 14th century, the bloodline, right? So that they could have used her. They could have used the actual Joan of Arc descendant to get on a gray horse and do her thing in full glory. They didn't have to make it look like the Grim Reaper, which is exactly what they did. So yeah, it was all about the pale horse. So. And what's interesting about the French, it's a Catholic country, right? I hope you know, filled with atheists. So it's kind of an interesting. I mean, don't get me wrong; they're not filled with atheists, but let me put it that way. Very rarely did I ever meet a French person who was baptized Catholic and was a devout Catholic. Okay, just saying on the side note, but yeah, it's sad. The thing about Paris is that it is a magnificent city in itself. The food, the pastries is unbelievable. Like you can't even understand how incredible the pastries are. Some of these pastry shops have been there for like 500 years. I kid you not. My grandmother used to go and get her macaroons. You know those macaroons everyone's into, those colored macaroons. She would get them in this place called Dalloyau, which is an old patisserie, and fill up this empty tin jar that she would get. It was like a jar, like a tin box, and go up to Paris on the train from Switzerland and fill it up with all coffee, pistachio, all kinds of flavors. She loved macaroons, and bring it back to Switzerland where she lived. So the food is fantastic. Whenever I used to go to Paris, I really didn't pay attention to people. I don't pay attention to people when I go to certain cities. I'm not interested in connecting with the people. I'm interested in connecting with the vibration of these old cities. And like London is the same thing. I'm not really interested in rubbing shoulders with the locals. I'm more interested in looking at the museums, going to the museums, Madame Tussauds Museum, the Royal Museum, the Natural History Museum, things of that nature, and also connecting with the food. I mean, some of the best ethnic food I've ever had in my life was in London. So, but as a rule, I'm more of a nature girl. I'm more into the mountains, the oceans, the lakes, things of that nature. So there's just so much time you can take in these cities before it gets oppressive and it feels fake, So don't let this particular debacle color your ideas of the French. Try to see it for what it is. But it was definitely them smearing poop in our faces and then telling us, oh no, but it's chocolate. It's like, yeah, dude, I know chocolate. I've eaten chocolate my whole life, and what I've just been force fed was not chocolate. Definitely not. So anyway, I hope to see you guys again soon. Patisserie on every corner, I bet. Damn near. It did look very dark when I saw the artist. I thought, poor guy. Yeah, he's clueless. Somebody hustled him into a couple ideas, and he was all excited, and he's in shock. You can tell he's in absolute shock that it's received such poor, like everyone's pissed off. And And then there was a blackout. So karma's a bitch. It's like either they were hacked. I can, because the first thing I thought when I saw Paris in dark, I wonder if somebody really pissed off just hacked the ship. Fuck them, we're hacking them, and turned down the lights for the whole night, right? Because they were in darkness, pitch darkness, and and then of course it's hot and there's no air conditioner, and if you've ever lived in these old apartments in Paris. My grandmother, we lived in an apartment where we had a beautiful elevator from the like La Belle Époque, the late 1800s, beautiful elevator. But for the most part, these apartments have no elevator, so you're walking up 5 flights of stairs to get to your apartment. Number 1, number 2, there's no fucking air conditioner, so it was on top. It was hot. So hopefully, people who understand karma will understand that was, in effect, instant karma. They pissed off the wrong entities, that's for sure. So it makes me laugh, though, because at the end of the day, who gives a fuck? We're still doing what we got to do. We're still visualizing the new earth. We're still realizing that the infrastructure doesn't work. We're still realizing the importance of being transcendental with our twin, with ourselves. We are realizing that if we don't have self-worth, we don't have a shot in hell and ascending and going into 5D. So clearly, if you want to be into the new earth, you should be hell-bent, massive urgency to find out how to love yourself. Okay? How to love parts of yourself. Sometimes all you could do is love parts of yourself. You don't have to love the whole of yourself, because honestly, who does? I don't know anyone who does. But you can love parts of yourself. Physical parts of yourself, mental parts of yourself, spiritual parts of yourself, intellectual parts of yourself, and parts of yourself you won't like ever. But at least you'll have enough. If you could love, say, 75% of yourself, you've passed the grade. You got a C plus. You can get to the ascension train. It's really all you need to do. There's no pressure to love yourself 100% completely, because no one's expecting that in this 3D constraints. I mean, think of this brain as a straitjacket, and you're filtering all this stuff that you've never been able to filter through in all your incarnations on this planet. And now suddenly you're so self-aware of what you need to heal. So now all they're asking from you, the universe is asking, is just, you know what to do, go do it. And with some, like put some speed to it, because the ascension is upon us. Its hot breath is on our necks, in a good way, not in a creepy way. And we are moving towards wonderful opportunities, wonderful places to be. I was telling a friend of mine, my Andromeda Flame, my Doc Holiday, I said to her today, I know why my twin had to pass. And she said, what do you think? Well, besides the obvious. And I said, because he really needed to be, he needed to shed his 3D, the entire 3D of his body to get into, like he had to drop all of it to get into full 5D power. He couldn't do the full transformation in his physical body. It was not going to happen. There was too much entrenched hardwiring that he couldn't do. And he couldn't do it, he couldn't overcome it because of the severity of his brain cancer. In other words, he couldn't do the final. And so even if he had not had it, he would have had a hard time. And so him dropping his body before me was important, because now we can continue the work from a transformed place. And my job is to make sure that I give myself as much unconditional love as possible during my stay here, until it's my turn to drop my body and to join him, and to join him in a new incarnation, in a higher dimension. And self-love is absolutely, you could be the nicest person in the world, nicest, kindest, generous to a fault. But if you do not have self-worth or self-love to some level of balance within yourself, you will not attain ascension. So that should actually put some fire under your butt, right? To do whatever the hell it takes to heal that. because you deserve it. You deserve to move out into other realms. Okay? Okay, let me see here. I usually stay away from watching those demonstrations. I can feel the hit to stay away. Same here. Good. Yep. All right. Well, listen, it was a pleasure and an honor. Thank you for being here. I was sending you much love on your journey. I will upload this live. And try to follow me on my YouTube. If you want to help on my GoFundMe for the memorial for my twin, I do have the GoFundMe listed and posted. If you just want to hear him talk about, because you'll hear him, it's a 30-second moment that I captured on film in 2019 where he's reciting a poem by Tagore, one of the great Hindu poets, on death. It is the most beautiful poem. He used to quote all kinds of poems off the top of his head. So if you wanted to see him recite that poem, go on my GoFundMe, on my link tree, click on that, click on, it's a YouTube, you'll see it, and check him out. He is, I shouldn't say was, he is an elegant soul with an incredibly refined mind. And this is a person who, this world, some of these men go through a lot. They go through too much, and I'm talking about men, not boys, not betas, not little boys in grown ass bodies and harassing people and shit. I'm talking about grown ass men, and grown ass men who have gone through massive trauma, who have been irreverent to the systems, who have pushed against the systems, have to harden. They become encased in a fortress that becomes a lonely place to be. Read the book The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer about the person who puts themselves in a fortress to protect themselves from being harmed, emotionally harmed. It's great. It's a great chapter. Anyway, all right. Well, sending you much love on your journey. Thank you for the reminder of self-love. So important. It's more important than anything you'll ever do in your life. Let me just say. Thank you all for those of you who have donated to the GoFundMe. I am so blessed, so blessed at your generous love and I'm just blown away. Letty, thank you. I love hearing your story with him. Oh, I can tell you a lot of stories, and I'm writing a book. I'm ready to write the book. So, and I told him before he died, I'm writing our book, and I know what's, and he smiled because I'd been talking about writing the book for a long time. So he smiled. He was, the thing is, he was massively loved by me and my son. And my son, that is not his son, is my ex. My son treated him like he was his own father, and he knew it. So we were blessed. Massive healing, massive growth, massive ascension stuff. You know, I'm proud of my son. I'm proud of him. I'm actually grateful for me having been there, and I'm massively grateful for the community I'm building with these amazing women. So, oh, thank you. Yeah, get the book Recall. Yeah, the book Recall I wrote before we came back into union. I wrote that book in 2012. It's out. It's on my link tree as well if you want to buy it. It's very erotic, but it's very erotic because it's important to talk about the twin flame, the sex between twin flames, and how it evolves and how it looks, and also past lives. It's set in a past life in Mesopotamia. Thank you, Letty, for bringing it up. It's set in Mesopotamia 3,500 years ago, and it goes into 1997. So it's an interesting book. I had to self-publish it. Is it on Audible? No, it's not on Audible, but it is a quick read. I don't know why. There's a format that I created, apparently, which elicits people to have past life memories of their own. And I have a feeling it's because of the way I formatted it. I've got to get so many books. Gita is on the way, and I need 369. I'm glad you got the Gita. Good for you. You'll have to tell me which version you got of the Bhagavad Gita. And then the Project 369 is the one you want. You want Project 369, okay? And that's the book, okay? The guy is amazing. He started that book. He started putting it together. And there are a lot of copies. There are a lot of people copying it. It's not quite right, but his book is really brilliant. So you might see it if you scroll down and look at my when I talk about manifesting and I'm walking the land. You might want to check that out. My TF told me to get Gita, then you mentioned it on the first live in the post. That's insane. Yeah, the Bhagavad Gita is one of the great works, and the Battle of Kurukshetra is amazing. There is also an audible version with, oh my God, I forgot his name, Eskivas. I forgot the name. I got to write it down. And he reads Indian poetry. He's Indian. That's wonderful. Good for you. So yeah, go ahead and read the Bhagavad Gita. You should be reading the one that's written by Prabhupada, who translated it, but whatever. It's all good. And then there's the Mahabharat. It's a movie directed by, I believe, a French director. It's like 12, 13 hours long. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's like, if you want to like binge, it's one of the great plays. It's written like a play, the Mahabharata. But there's tons of stuff on Audible, on Hindu mythology, on Shiva, on Sita, on Rama, on all of these stories that all have these philosophical nuggets of gold that you can pull out. Yeah. By the way, your friend, let's go, he reads Indian poetry. He's Indian. Have him listen to my twin recite Tagore and on death, and he might get a kick out of it. I love when Westerners also read poetry from India, because there's a passion that's different. And you got to remember, what's interesting is there's a passion that's different, yet there's a memory in our souls, because many of us have incarnated from India. Many of us are ancestors of India. And so we have a very strong connection to the ancient Sanskrit words and poetry and mythology and mantras, and it feels like home to us, because it was our home in multiple incarnations when we lived in India during its many golden ages, for example. And so when you feel an affinity to any country, ancient, dead languages, it's usually because that was your home. That's usually a sign. All right, thank you for all the love, guys. Take care. Namaste, be well.